Imagine trying to focus on your work, but all you can think about is food. Your stomach growls. Your mind keeps drifting to the fridge. You check the clock and realize you still have 4 hours left in your fasting window. Sound familiar? If you've ever tried intermittent fasting, you know this feeling. The hunger can seem overwhelming, especially in the beginning. Many people give up not because fasting doesn't work, but because they don't know how to handle the hunger that comes with it. But here's something most people don't realize. The way hunger actually works is very different from what you might expect. And once you understand it, everything changes. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what's happening in your body when you feel hungry during a fast. More importantly, we'll cover what you can actually do about it. This is educational content, not medical advice, so always check with your healthcare provider before starting any fasting routine. Let's start with the basics. When you feel hungry, there's a hormone responsible for that sensation. It's called ghrelin. Ghrelin is produced mainly in your stomach, and its job is to send a signal to your brain that says it's time to eat. When ghrelin levels rise, you feel hungry. When they fall, that hunger fades. Simple enough, right? But here's where it gets interesting. Ghrelin isn't released based on whether your body actually needs food. It's released based on when your body expects food. Let me explain what that means. If you normally eat breakfast at 8 in the morning, your stomach starts releasing ghrelin around 8 in the morning. If you usually have lunch at noon, ghrelin spikes again around noon. Your body has learned your eating schedule, and it prepares for meals before they even happen. This is why that 12 o'clock hunger feels so intense when you're fasting. It's not because you desperately need food at that exact moment. It's because your body has been trained to expect food at that time. The hunger you feel is partly a learned response, not necessarily a sign that you're running out of energy. Understanding this is the first step to handling hunger better. That gnawing feeling at your usual mealtime isn't an emergency. It's your body following an old schedule that you're now changing. Now here's where the science gets even more surprising. Researchers wanted to know what happens to ghrelin when people fast for extended periods. They measured ghrelin levels every 20 minutes in subjects who fasted for 33 hours straight. What they expected to find was that ghrelin would keep rising higher and higher the longer people went without food. That's not what happened. Instead, they discovered that ghrelin follows a wave pattern. It rises at the times when subjects normally ate peaks for a while, and then falls back down even though no food was consumed. The hunger didn't keep building indefinitely. It came in waves. This is crucial information for anyone practicing intermittent fasting. When you feel that intense hunger hit, it's not going to keep getting worse forever. That wave of hunger typically lasts about 15 to 20 minutes. If you can ride it out, if you can distract yourself or just wait, that wave will pass. And you'll often find yourself feeling much better on the other side. Think about times when you got busy and accidentally skipped lunch. Maybe you were deep in a project or stuck in back-to-back meetings. Around 1 o'clock you were starving, but by 3 o'clock you weren't that hungry anymore. You didn't eat anything yet. The hunger faded on its own. That's the wave pattern in action. Your body doesn't stay in peak hunger mode constantly. It cycles through it. There's another fascinating piece to this puzzle. Scientists at Harvard conducted studies on the body's internal clock and hunger. They found that hunger follows a natural daily rhythm that's built into our biology. And here's the surprising part. Hunger is actually lowest in the morning around 8 or 9 a.m., even though that's typically after your longest period without food, the overnight fast. You'd think that after 10 or 12 hours of not eating while you sleep, you'd wake up starving. But for most people, that's not the case. Morning hunger tends to be mild compared to evening hunger. Why would our bodies be designed this way? The answer lies in evolution. Think about what life was like for our ancestors tens of thousands of years ago. There were no refrigerators, no grocery stores, no delivery apps. Food wasn't guaranteed. It had to be found, hunted, gathered, or caught. Now imagine waking up in that world. You haven't eaten since yesterday. If hunger immediately made you weak, sluggish, and unable to think clearly, you'd be in serious trouble. You'd be too impaired to do the one thing you needed to do, which was find your next meal. So our bodies evolved a brilliant solution. Instead of making us weaker when food wasn't available, our biology actually sharpens us. Hunger is suppressed in the morning hours. Mental clarity increases. Energy becomes more stable. Our ancestors woke up ready to hunt, not disabled by hunger pangs. This is why extended fasting doesn't make you progressively weaker with each passing hour. Your body has backup systems that kick in when food isn't coming. It switches from burning glucose to burning stored fat. It produces ketones, an alternative fuel source that your brain can use efficiently. It releases hormones that preserve muscle and maintain alertness. These aren't flaws in your biology, they're features. Survival mechanisms refined over millions of years of human evolution. When you fast, you're activating ancient programming that helped your ancestors survive periods of scarcity. Hunger then builds throughout the day, peaking in the evening, which would have encouraged our ancestors to eat well before the fasting period of sleep. This pattern is still running inside you right now. It's why many people find morning fasting relatively easy, but struggle more as the day goes on. You're not weak for feeling hungrier at night. You're human. Your biology is working exactly as it was designed to work. Here's some good news for anyone just starting out with intermittent fasting. The first day or two is usually the hardest. This isn't a sign that you're failing or that fasting isn't for you. It's simply your body adjusting to a new eating schedule. Remember, your stomach has been releasing ghrelin at your old meal times, possibly for years or even decades. If you've eaten breakfast at 7 a.m. every day for 20 years, that's over 7,000 times. Your body has learned to expect food at that hour. When you suddenly change the pattern, your body needs time to catch up. Those first 24 to 48 hours often bring the most intense hunger because your system is still operating on the old schedule. But here's what happens next. As you stick with your new eating window, your body starts to adapt. The ghrelin release pattern begins to shift. Your stomach learns that food isn't coming at 7 a.m. anymore, and it stops sounding the alarm at that time. Many people report that after just a few days of consistent intermittent fasting, the hunger becomes much more manageable. Some even say it nearly disappears during their fasting window. They describe feeling lighter, more focused, and surprisingly not hungry at all during times when they used to feel starving. Your stomach doesn't physically shrink, despite what some people claim. What changes is your hormonal response. Your body learns the new schedule and adjusts when it sends hunger signals. The cells in your stomach that produce ghrelin have their own internal clocks, and these clocks can be reset. This adaptation is real and it's backed by research. So if you're in your first week and struggling, know that it gets easier, much easier. You just have to give your biology time to catch up with your intentions. Most people find that by week 2, fasting feels almost natural. Now let's talk about something that trips up a lot of people. Not all hunger is the same. Sometimes when you think you're hungry, you're actually thirsty. The signals for hunger and thirst in your brain can get crossed, especially if you're not used to paying close attention to your body's cues. Many people find that drinking a glass of water when hunger strikes reduces or eliminates the sensation entirely. It wasn't food their body wanted, it was hydration. Then there's emotional hunger. This is when you want to eat not because your body needs fuel, but because you're bored, stressed, anxious, or just looking for comfort. Food triggers the release of dopamine in your brain, the same chemical associated with pleasure and reward. Sometimes you're not hungry for calories. You're hungry for that dopamine hit, that feeling of satisfaction. Being able to tell the difference between physical hunger and emotional hunger is a game changer for fasting. Physical hunger usually comes on gradually and is accompanied by physical sensations like stomach growling, slight fatigue, or difficulty concentrating. Emotional hunger tends to come on suddenly, often triggered by a mood or situation, and it usually craves specific foods rather than just food in general. Before you break your fast, ask yourself which type of hunger you're experiencing. If it's emotional, there are other ways to get that dopamine boost that don't involve eating. Now I'm curious about your experience. When do you feel hungriest during a fast? Is it the first few hours, somewhere in the middle, or right before your eating window opens? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to see if your experience matches what the science tells us. Alright, so you understand why hunger works the way it does. But understanding alone doesn't make the hunger disappear when it hits. Let's talk about what you can actually do in those moments. The first and simplest strategy is to drink water. When a wave of hunger comes, drink a full glass of water and wait 10 to 15 minutes. You might be surprised how often this helps. Adding a small pinch of salt to your water can make it even more effective. Here's why. When you fast, your body excretes more sodium than usual. Low sodium levels can actually increase ghrelin production, making you feel hungrier. By maintaining your electrolytes, you're not just staying hydrated, you're directly helping to manage your hunger hormones. The second strategy is to keep yourself busy with physical activity. This doesn't mean you need to hit the gym hard. Simple activities work great. Go for a 10 or 15-minute walk around your neighborhood. Clean your house or organize a messy drawer. Do some gardening or yard work. Wash your car. Fold laundry. The activity itself doesn't matter much. What matters is that you're moving and your mind is occupied. Light physical activity serves two purposes. First, it distracts your mind from the hunger. When you're focused on a task, your brain has less bandwidth to obsess over food. Second, and this is the interesting part, research shows physical activity can actually reduce ghrelin levels temporarily. One study found that exercising at the start of a fast reduced ghrelin by about 17% compared to fasting without exercise. Movement isn't just a distraction. It's actively helping your biology cope with the fasting state. Many people discover that a simple walk is their secret weapon for getting through tough hunger moments. There's something about changing your environment and getting your body moving that seems to reset your mental state. The third strategy is mental distraction. Your brain can only focus on so many things at once. If you fill it with engaging content, there's less room for hunger to dominate your thoughts. Put on a podcast or audiobook that genuinely interests you. Watch educational videos, maybe even videos about fasting, to remind yourself why you're doing this and reinforce your motivation. Call a friend or family member and have a real conversation. Dive into work that requires concentration. Many people notice that their busiest days are also their easiest fasting days. When your calendar is packed with meetings or you're deep into a challenging project, hours can fly by without a single thought about food. Then, on weekends, when you have free time and nothing urgent to do, suddenly fasting feels impossible. This isn't coincidence. It's how your brain works. Boredom is one of hunger's best friends. When your mind is idle, it looks for stimulation, and food is one of the easiest sources of stimulation available. By keeping yourself mentally engaged, you're not just passing time. You're strategically redirecting your brain's attention away from hunger. The fourth strategy is what I call the 20-minute rule. When hunger hits hard, look at the clock and tell yourself you'll reassess in 20 minutes. Set a timer if you need to. Then do anything else during those 20 minutes. Walk, drink water, work on something, whatever keeps you occupied. When the timer goes off, check in with yourself. More often than not, that intense hunger wave has passed. If it hasn't, drink more water and give it another 10 minutes. This simple technique works because it aligns with the natural wave pattern of ghrelin. The fifth strategy involves what you drink. Black coffee and plain tea are generally considered acceptable during a fast because they contain essentially 0 calories. Both contain caffeine, which acts as a mild appetite suppressant. The warmth of the beverage can also help soothe that empty feeling in your stomach. Just be careful not to overdo it, as too much caffeine can lead to dehydration, which would work against you. The sixth strategy is to know exactly how you'll break your fast. Decide ahead of time what you're going to eat when your eating window opens. Having a clear plan gives your brain a finish line to focus on instead of feeling like the fast stretches on forever. Prepare that meal in advance if possible. Knowing that something delicious and nutritious is waiting for you can make the remaining fasting hours feel much more manageable. Now, a word of caution. While hunger during fasting is normal and usually manageable, there are warning signs you shouldn't ignore. If you experience severe dizziness that doesn't go away after 30 minutes, heart palpitations, or a racing heartbeat, confusion, or an inability to think clearly, fainting or feeling like you might faint, or extreme weakness that doesn't improve with rest, these are signals that something may be wrong. Break your fast and consult a healthcare professional. Certain people should be extra careful with fasting or avoid it entirely. This includes pregnant or breastfeeding women, anyone with a history of eating disorders, people with diabetes who use insulin, those with chronic kidney disease, and anyone who is underweight. Fasting should challenge you, but it should never harm you. Listen to your body. So let's bring this all together. Hunger during fasting is not your enemy. It's not your body punishing you for skipping meals. It's simply your body communicating with you, following patterns that can be understood and even changed. Hunger comes in waves that typically last 15 to 20 minutes before subsiding. It follows your old eating schedule, which is why the times you used to eat feel hardest. It's lowest in the morning thanks to millions of years of evolution, and it decreases significantly after just a few days of consistent fasting as your body adapts to the new pattern. When you understand these facts, you stop fighting against your biology and start working with it. You know that a hunger wave will pass if you wait it out. You know that staying hydrated and maintaining electrolytes directly impacts your hunger hormones. You know that keeping busy, both physically and mentally, makes fasting dramatically easier. The first few days might be challenging, but your body is remarkably adaptable. It was designed to handle periods without food, millions of years of human evolution built in systems specifically for this purpose. When you fast, you're not doing something unnatural. You're tapping into an ancient capability that your body still remembers how to use. And here's something that divides the fasting community. Some people say you should always push through hunger because it builds discipline and mental toughness. Others say you should listen to your body and eat if you truly need to. Based on everything we've covered today, which approach makes more sense to you? Let me know in the comments. If this video helped you understand hunger better, consider sharing it with someone who's struggling with fasting. Sometimes knowing the science behind what you're feeling makes all the difference. And if you want to dive deeper into what happens inside your body during extended fasts, check out our video on 7-day fasting. The biological changes are even more dramatic. Remember, every hour you successfully fast, your body is getting better at this. The hunger you feel today will be weaker next week. Trust the process, ride out those waves, and know that you're more capable than you think. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the science of fasting.